Trill Pill Podcast. Back with another good episode. Real quick. Shout out to everybody who has been supporting me on all streaming platforms. You know, the Google, Spotify, Radio Public, Apple Podcasts, Stitcher, Breaker, you know, Spreaker, all type of shit, man. Wherever you find a Trill Pill Podcast, and however you listen to it, I appreciate it. YouTube, I appreciate it. I appreciate people who really take the time out to listen. I appreciate everybody who gives me a piece of their time throughout the day. It's just time that you can't get back. So I don't want to waste anybody's time. I don't want my time wasted either with bullshit. So when I come on here and like I said, I get on my dry erase board, I think about the shit that I want to talk about. I try to make sure that the shit means something. I'm trying to make sure that this shit has some substance to it, has some weight to it, you know? I want it to carry. I don't want to just do a whole lot of breath wasting and all the other bullshit, you know? Because I don't really know how much breath I have left on this earth. So why waste it doing some bullshit when I can use it in a constructive way to help whoever the fuck it helps. Wherever you at, listen to this. I hope you can take anything from what I'm saying, from any of my experiences that I share with you, and apply. I'm not a therapist. I'm not no life coach. I'm not none of that shit. I'm an ordinary nigga that grew up in South Dallas with loving parents, loving family, and jumped off this porch, jumped right in life, and through my experiences in my life, I've created this platform which has it became a safe haven for a few of my friends, a few of my loved ones. Some episodes I won't even put out because they are so personal. That's just how I rock, though. You know. That's just how loyal I am. People can trust me. You know. I don't trust a lot of people, but I just I always want to pay homage to the people who paved the lane before me to podcasts. I don't give a fuck, you know. And I ain't no big podcast as of now, you know. But I thank those people who I listened to, who I looked up to, who encouraged me to keep on doing what I'm doing, who really support me, you know. They don't have to say they support me. You know, if they say it, you know, that's fine, but they don't have to say it, they show it. They show it, you know. Simple as that. Anybody that knows me knows I move off my good merit. You know? I am exactly who I say I am. I don't want to pull no punches. doing no pump faking. Because I'm doing this shit for a purpose, not for popularity. And I want this shit to hold weight. And I don't want it to waste. There's enough bullshit going on out here that's wasting time. It's fucking distraction. We just need a whole lot of healing. And like I said, I ain't nobody special. I ain't no therapist. You know? Nothing like that. But I'll be damned if I keep going. Going through whatever I'm going through and not sharing my experiences. Not sharing what I've learned. Not sharing how I feel. Being afraid to tell people how I feel. Explain people how I feel. As a man, that's important. To explain how you feel. Whether it's to your woman or to your partners or whatever. We done got so used to not explaining and people not caring about how we feel. Whenever we do explain and do speak on how we feel, it's always something that's negative behind it. When there's nothing negative around it. So, I'm trying to knock doors down in my own way. I don't want to have, nobody scared to speak on how they feel. I don't want nobody to end their life because they feel like nobody cared. A lot of folks don't know how it feels to go down that road. And some do. And if you do, then you have the luxury of understanding the chances and the choices that you are still here to make. You have the luxury of dealing with the consequences, good or bad, of your choices. My last episode was Weathering the Storm. It's part 2. The first part is, I did shit like last year. Learning how to weather the storm and deal with these myriad of emotions is a part of being a human being. It's a lot of erratic behavior. It's a lot of bullshit I don't have time for. I'm 31 years old. I don't like wasting my time. You know? It's not about... Anyway, the topic is trust issues, right? Well, we'll get to that in a little bit. I just want to say this shit because this shit was on my mind. For me, it's not about popularity. It's about purpose. That purpose is going to last a lot longer and hold a lot of weight, way longer than popularity will. You understand? I do what I do because I want to leave something here on this earth. This is one of the few things that I'm leaving. Along with this, I also have a voice note journal that is on a USB that I take every single day for my children. So when I'm gone, my voice will live on. My tutelage will still live on. My mother wrote journals. My father wrote journals also. When my mother passed, there's a box of journals that I have. I have some. My brother has some, and I read them to understand more. To remind myself that I'm not the only one going through this shit. Especially when you start feeling like you're alone. Everybody's smiling, but some smiles look wrong. Can't trust everybody. You got trust issues. I've been an underdog my whole life. So much that I'm comfortable with it. But the con to that is like, shit, at some point, we're going to have to go be the top dog. We got to go take it. We got to go take what we want. In a positive way. Can't be scared, can't be too timid to speak your mind when it's time. You have to know when it's time. And sometimes you gotta not give a fuck really at all. Well, I'll say sometimes. Really not give a fuck what people say about you. Excuse me. Especially if they don't know you. You gotta let them keep walking themselves in the trap. Let them keep walking themselves in the trap. If you ever watch a time lapse on spiders, I'm getting to the topic right to this. If you ever seen a time lapse of a spider laying this web, it's a very, complicated, timed out, methodical process. They lay the web out. You know what I'm saying? Find something to attach it to, get it all laid out. And once everything is laid out, they just wait and be patient. Then when something, flies around or flies through, stick on that web. Motherfucking spider, crawl up on them, go in for the kill. And that's how I feel. A lot of times, I'm not quick to jump out at bait. I like to let people think they got me. And they walk themselves into something that they can't get out of. You know what I'm saying? Trust issues. Are characterized by fears of betrayal, abandonment, and manipulation. Many of us have these feelings. Whether we have trouble trusting our significance, our parents, or our parents or figures, what I'm saying, whoever was father figure, mother figure, shit like that. Or even our doctors. Or even ourselves. It's become more and more difficult to remain vulnerable, trusting, and open to life in this era of uncertainty, global upheaval, divorce, disruption, and disrupted family life. Fortunately, many of us have friends and family members we can count on, and unfortunately, many of us don't. Somewhere that is a safe haven where we can let our guard down and relax and be ourselves. But even, sometimes, even there, things can get rough. Maybe you had a similar or a equally traumatic experience, but you're not sure if it necessarily resulted in trust issues. You start to assume betrayal off the jump. You assume someone has betrayed your trust even if you have no rightful reasoning. You will wait for it. You assume someone will betray you in due time despite how honest they have been in the past. Me personally, I've been overly protective of my loved ones out of fear that I don't want them to feel what I felt. I don't want my partners to feel what I felt. I don't want, you know what I'm saying? And that's just how it goes. My brother, if you go back to the episode of Mama's Cooking on YouTube, my brother talked about his experiences with betrayal, trust issues, the way he felt, things of that nature. We're going to do some more of that because my brother is my favorite nigga. That's my guy. He had a hand in raising me a little bit because of our age gap, 13 years. But nonetheless, he's never took his hand off of me. He always kept me guided, straight. He's not perfect. I'm not perfect. But together, once we put our minds together, we'll find out a fucking solution one way or another, and we'll go from there. That's how it always been. That's how it always will be. Much love to my brother Sean. But a lot of times you have to understand being misunderstood. And I'll get more into that topic, different podcast, different time. But you just become so protective. You start to distance yourself from others. Look, I'm not gonna lie. I'm burnt out about talking about my divorce with my therapist over the phone, on the computer, in person. I'm so tired of that shit, y'all. You know what I'm saying? Oh, shit. Fuck air off. I'm so tired of that shit. You know what I'm saying? But, like she told me, don't matter how tired you are of it, that's a part of healing. She also told me that I have to stop putting Band-Aids on wounds that require sutures, stitches and shit. You can't put a Band-Aid over a bullet wound. You can't put a Band-Aid over a stab wound. You know? You gotta stitch that shit up. And like I told her, she asked me what was the reason behind it. I said, well, shit, I've been with this person for this many years, blase, this, you know, all that other shit. And it's not the fact it wasn't infidelity. You know, I just think we grew apart. But most importantly, if we are growing apart, if we built this rapport over this time, how couldn't we sit down and create a plan? Because at the end of the day, it's bigger than us. We have children. Why would you run off to the family courts and put them people in our life as if they're not already in our life? You causing destruction. You causing havoc. You doing this shit out of spite and all that. You know what I'm saying? The other shit. And my therapist, she looked at me and she was like, that's something I never heard before. You know? And I have friends who's been, you know, I remember when I was back in middle school at Pearl C, I had got into it with a dude, you know, little kid shit. My partner was getting jumped in the bathroom. I walked in the bathroom in the middle of him getting jumped. See that as him getting jumped. They was trying to put his fucking head in the fucking toilet. And hey, what I do? I came through, hitting boy with the 1-2. You know what I'm saying? Slamming niggas against the goddamn stalls. You know what I'm saying? But when it came back around, and it was time for my ass to get jumped. You know what I'm saying? While I'm out there, you know what I'm saying, trying to, you know what I'm saying, give him the 1, 2, 3, 4. You know what I'm saying? This nigga was at my house telling my mama that I'm getting jumped. And the first thing my mama did was pop that nigga in the back of the head and say, well, why the fuck you right here? Why you not helping him out? Yeah, shit like that. Trust issues from that. Yeah, I wasn't cool with that nigga ever again. You know, handle my business, lick my wounds. The next day, that was the last day of school. Next day, I'm running back and forth to Lincoln for 2 days, lifting weights. You know what I'm saying? Just like that, I'm over it. That's how we deal with shit. Plus, by that time, my mama, a couple niggas in my neighborhood that fuck with me and my family was heading down. My mama had that 38 special in a pouch. You know what I'm saying? Shit like that. Well, nobody gonna fuck with me, man. You know, and shout out to everybody that really had love for me and that still got love for me. Shout out to everybody, you know, at Lego Park and everybody around there. Cause it's like a second family, to be honest. You know, some of them niggas. You know what I'm saying? kept me out of trouble, kept my mind on straight, kept me out of places where I didn't need to be. Just out of the respect of my family and myself. You know what I'm saying? Shout out to them. But that whole situation, the trust issues. You know what I'm saying? So I've kind of, I've always kind of been a loner in my life. You know what I'm saying? I've always had, had friends and shit like that, but I prefer just to be alone. I prefer to, rock alone. Cause, even if I'm going to do something I don't have no business doing, I'm not going to tell them myself. That's how I always thought about it. You know what I'm saying? I'm not going to tell them myself. Shit. I'm about my lonely. I had no problem with it. But you start to decide that it's best to limit your relationships in order to avoid fears of betrayal and abandonment. You know what I'm saying? Also, avoiding commitment, and no matter how much you care for someone, you refuse to commit. You know what I'm saying? All that shit. And you don't forgive the smallest mistakes. Sometimes I tend to make a big deal out of nothing. But even when there's nothing, there might be something. If that makes any sense. That's just how, the type of logic that I don't know. Because even when there's nothing, and, they may jump out the window and say some bullshit. At that point, if I catch it, most of the time I catch it, I start analyzing the shit. Like, what the fuck you know what I'm saying? What the fuck you talking about? Or why did they feel comfortable to say what they said? What was the intention behind saying? You know what I'm saying? The shit start going off like that. Like my brain just start firing off. You know what I'm saying? But I've learned to kind of dial it back on that. But I'll, at the very end of, what I read down and shit, I will kind of give my, summary, of how I view it in general, in a nutshell. You know what I'm saying? Give me some time. I've also become excessively wary of people. Everybody I meet, I am extremely cautious and suspicious of. You know what I'm saying? And if you feel lonely and depressed, your fears might have led you to isolate yourself from others and enter a state of depression. And my therapist was such a good fucking therapist. She's a shit. Shout out to Lord McGraw. Because she has unlocked a part of me that hasn't been unlocked since I was a child. And that doing that, I have unlocked a part of my children early. Being able to make them mentally aware, emotionally aware, emotionally intelligent about themselves, how they feel, not being afraid to express how they feel, teaching them coping mechanisms, teaching them everything that I've learned. And I'm seeing the benefits of them in their life with what I've learned, with what has been unlocked with me. And sometimes your trust issues are a major hindrance in your life, and you may simply want to move on from them. Like I said, trying to put band-aids over bullet wounds, you can't do that. You can't put band-aids over bullet wounds. You can't put band-aids over gash. You gotta clean it up, get some sutures on it, close that shit back up so it can heal right. Now it's going to leave a scar. You know what I'm saying? It's going to always leave a scar. But I always use my scars. See, my mother had to go through a pinched nerve surgery, a mastectomy, and other scars that she had, during her life. But like she told me one day, every scar has a story to it. In order for it to even become a scar, means that it had to heal. Otherwise, it'll still be an open wound. That stuck with me. Still to this day. Every scar has a story. And if it gets to the point where, that shit, man, that's another podcast episode for a whole nother day. I've already been in this shit 32 minutes trying to close this shit up. Put that down in my sticky notes. You understand? But accept the risk that comes with learning trust again. No matter how long it takes, take some time for you to heal, and when you're ready, accept the risk that comes with learning to trust again. Nobody's perfect. People let us down, and we let people down. Therefore, placing your trust in someone is undeniably going to lead to being let down at some point or another. That's just how trust works. Trust doesn't have to be given out freely. It's most definitely okay to wait for people to earn it before deciding you can rely on them. Sometimes you may have to just jump into, some shit head first and allow yourself to be vulnerable and risk being let down in order to create healthy relationships again. Face your fears, negative feelings. Face your fears and other negative feelings built around trust. It's crucial that you admit to yourself why you're scared and what you're scared of so you can attempt to move on. Try and trust again, I know it's going to be hard. I know the niggas ain't, you know what I'm saying? They ain't got your back or whatever. You know what I'm saying? Your partner stabs you in the back, or, you know what I'm saying? Your bitch done this off the wild shit. You know what I'm saying? Something happened. You put trust in somebody and that person failed. But at some point, once you heal, and that's why the healing process is important. You can't prolong that. You have to try and trust again. I'm not at that stage right now. You know what I'm saying? But I'm getting there. I'm willing to do it, but I know for a fact, I ain't with all that shit. So right now, I'm still healing, and I'm going to take however long it needs, however long that I need to heal, I'm going to do that. I don't give a fuck. Can't nobody rush me in my healing process. Can't nobody rush you in your healing process. Don't rush yourself in your healing process, because you most likely, if you rush yourself, you're going to end up falling back in the same motherfucking trap that you just got out of, and it's going to hurt even worse. You're going to start stacking that pain up, and you don't want to stack that pain up. My opinion, I think a little bit of trust issues are important. I think you should always make somebody earn your trust. I think you have to be able to understand that nobody's perfect, and sometimes people are going to fail, and if there's a way to rebuild that, then rebuild it, and if not, you know what I'm saying, go on about your way. You know, take what you learned from that and move the fuck on. That's a whole life to live out here. But I think having a little bit of trust issues is healthy. You know what I'm saying? Because you have to protect yourself, especially if there's nobody around you to filter that shit. So, you know what I'm saying? You have to create your own buffer with people. A level of understanding with people. You know? And if there is no level of understanding, you know, if nothing can be, nobody can come to a fucking conclusion by any of this shit, drop it where it's at and leave it alone. You know, agree to disagree, move the fuck on. It's a whole lot to live out here. I'm not gonna stay on, you know, not gonna stay on shit too much, harbor on it. You know what I'm saying? Keep holding those feelings. Just remember how, remember how those feelings feel, and do what's best to keep yourself from feeling like that ever again. You know, you gotta heal. Everybody's moving around and everybody's, you know, doing all type of shit, but nobody's healing. You know, people are scared to say that they need some healing. You know, a lot of men are scared to express how they feel and express to themselves, to their significance, or to whoever about how they feel and that they need some healing. You know, a lot of that shit needs to be taken seriously, especially with us men, with each other, with women, with our children as fathers. Because once we start expressing ourselves about things that we feel, how we feel in a positive way, that starts a healthy cycle for our children. So when they get older, they don't have to go through the bullshit that we had to go through because we didn't know how to react when our trust was let down. You understand? That's what it's all about, in my opinion. I don't give a damn about the rest of these shit, but at least for the children, I don't want my children to go through what I went through, but I know that most likely they will, because that's how life is. That's a part of life. But when those situations happen, I want them to already be armed with the knowledge how to deal with that shit, how to cope with that shit, how to heal with that shit, and move the fuck on. You understand? That's how I feel about trust issues. In a nutshell. I can go on, but I've already went on for 40 minutes. Monumental to be monumental. Stay true and heal. God bless you. God bless your loved ones. This is the Trill Pill Podcast. Like, share, subscribe. All streaming platforms. Fuck with me. Bye.